sent legal teams running to figure out exactly what erased would actually mean under royal law. Royal legal experts immediately started mapping out what would happen if it came to that. It would mean completely removing Meghan Markle's name, pictures, and royal titles from every official royal website and publication. She would be permanently banned from taking part in any royal ceremonies or public royal events, stripped of all her honorary military and community roles. Stressed that the lawsuit is not about money but about restoring his dignity and correcting the public record. The move shocked observers everywhere, marking a sharp change of direction from someone long praised for staying quiet and private. That same day, attention snapped back to Florida. Joe Giuliano, the man long rumored to be Meghan's first husband, was spotted by reporters at a cafe in Miami's Wynwood district. Even though he declined to give full interviews, he delivered one measured line that cut straight through all the noise. "I don't erase people I once loved." The clip, just 14 seconds long, aired across major U.S. networks and went viral globally online. While Giuliano neither confirmed nor denied any kind of legal relationship with Meghan, legal analysts widely viewed his words as a subtle but pointed rejection of what they described as narrative revisionism. Observers now believe that Giuliano's public reappearance after years of silence may signal he's willing to cooperate with formal investigations or provide documentation, if officially asked. As scrutiny continued to grow by the hour, two women connected to Prince Harry's past relationships broke their long silence with indirect but sharply felt public remarks. One post shared more than 1.3 million times read. Just as damaging were the details about how the relationship reportedly ended. The speaker claimed that in August 2015, Meghan suddenly left Toronto for what she said was a short trip to New York, never came back to their shared apartment, and completely stopped communicating with him. There was no closure, no explanation, just silence, the voice said. Looking back, many listeners say the timing lines up a little too perfectly with the start of her public rebranding phase. The testimony directly contradicts Meghan Markle's long-standing public claim that she had been single for more than a year before she met Prince Harry in July 2016. That contradiction has now caused serious concern inside royal circles about whether her personal timeline was honestly and accurately shared when she was first introduced to the royal family. Legal analysts speaking on BBC Radio 4 and CBC News said that if a sealed marriage record does exist and was never disclosed, it could mean she broke the royal rules about sharing your full marital history. That assessment raised the stakes instantly, moving the issue from gossip and rumor to a possible serious procedural violation. A senior advisor to King Charles III confirmed to Royal Newswire that the palace's legal team has launched an internal records search across 3 separate departments. Those include the Lord Chamberlain's office, the Cabinet office, and the Home office, all tasked with going through old submitted paperwork tied to Meghan's disclosures before the wedding. The main question is sharp and very specific. Did Meghan ever submit any kind of non-disclosure agreement, a personal history with parts removed, or a changed personal record before her 2018 royal wedding? After the podcast came out, Meghan's team put out a short media statement from Montecito, calling the episode a targeted attempt to destroy her character. They said the claims were built on guesswork and unauthorized suggestions, pushing back hard in the court of public opinion. But one detail stood out immediately. No legal injunction had been filed, and no formal denial of any alleged Giuliano marriage had been submitted as of this writing. That silence only made people more suspicious. By early February 7th, the name Joe Giuliano started trending fast across social media platforms. Not long after, a video surfaced showing Giuliano being briefly approached by reporters outside a cafe in Miami, turning the background figure into the newest person in the spotlight of an already explosive story. Even though he refused to give full interviews, Joe Giuliano answered one question that was shouted at him with just one line. "I don't erase people I once loved," he said. That brief clip, only 14 seconds long, exploded across TikTok and X, pulling in more than 19 million views within 24 hours. Hashtags tied to the clip surged instantly, including Meghan's sealed marriage, Giuliano files, and video testimony. The trend went global, forcing the royal family into yet another round of emergency damage control. Insiders at Windsor confirmed that King Charles III was briefed again late on the night of February 6th. The king reportedly ordered his advisors to put together a full, comprehensive file. That file would include media assets, dating timelines, archive interviews, and any possible contradictions found in Meghan's previously filed biographies and public statements. Palace officials privately expressed serious concern that the reputation of royal vetting standards, the process of checking people before they join the family, could be permanently damaged if the claims turned out to be true. As one internal source put it very bluntly, the monarchy is not just symbolic. It must uphold due diligence. This is no longer only about her. It is about what we failed to detect. The fallout from the archive room episode had now gone bigger than any earlier Sussex controversy, both in scale and in diplomatic sensitivity. Meanwhile, Meghan's continued silence beyond her initial response only made people more curious and suspicious. Public opinion was now sharply split between people defending her right to privacy and people demanding that institutions be held accountable. Behind the scenes, the response escalated fast. On February 7th, just hours after the podcast crossed 8 million streams, Meghan launched an aggressive counterattack from her Montecito home. Sources confirmed she called an emergency legal strategy meeting inside Archewell's private crisis response room, making it clear that the next phase of this fight had already begun. According to leaked briefing notes reviewed by Royal Newswire, the agenda inside the emergency meeting was ruthless and tightly organized. For immediate goals were laid out without any hesitation. First, damage Corey Vitiello's reputation through indirect PR placements. Second, prepare legal warning tactics aimed at stopping further mentions of Joe Giuliano. Third, reframe Meghan's years in Canada as exaggerated or completely made-up stories rather than documented real history. And fourth, fast-track the launch of a rebranded personal business identity under the Ever trademark, all before noon on February 7th. Within hours, the media response rolled out almost all at once. 3 gossip columnists, 2 based in the U.S. and 1 in Canada, published strikingly similar stories portraying Vitiello as someone just chasing fame and being passive-aggressively mean. Each piece quoted anonymous sources close to Meghan and kept repeating talking points like, he resented her rising profile, and he believed she owed her success to his culinary network. The coordination did not go unnoticed. A deep analysis of the metadata, basically the behind-the-scenes digital fingerprints, by an independent watchdog site called PR Trace, confirmed that at least one of the columns had been formally pitched by a publicist from a company called LSM Strategies. That firm had reportedly been under contract with Archewell Creative since late 2025, immediately raising red flags about whether someone was secretly pulling the strings on the whole narrative. The pressure campaign then expanded to broadcast media. 2 U.S. morning talk shows that were preparing video segments about the story were served with pre-lawsuit warning letters from a law firm called Henderson and Roth LLP. The letters demanded they take back any content linking Meghan to unverified premarital legal records, claiming it could lead to defamation lawsuits and hurt her reputation. The message was clear and aggressive. Control the story, shut down the names, and push the brand forward at full speed, no matter how loud the backlash got. Separate from a Vitiello-focused effort, Meghan Markle's legal representative quickly moved on another front. A preliminary cease and desist notice was sent to the Archive Room podcast and its host Lydia Markham, challenging her use of a digitally altered voice testimony without a signed agreement. Legal scholars noted that while no one's identity was officially confirmed in the podcast, the complaint was centered on implication, basically saying the suggestion alone was harmful, even without directly naming someone. Behind the scenes, Meghan's team was pushing a broader legal argument. They were trying to establish that any reference to an alleged seal marriage, even without directly naming anyone, counted as harmful insinuation and reputational damage. It was a strategy aimed at shrinking the space for anyone to even hint at the story, and not just make direct factual claims. Some people spend more time deleting the past and building the future. Royal commentators immediately read that line as a thinly veiled jab aimed straight at Meghan Markle, adding fuel to the moment. Chelsea Davy, long known for her discretion when it comes to royal matters, replied to a follower in a comment that has since been deleted. History isn't something you curate, it's something you own. While neither post mentioned Meghan by name, Both reinforced a growing feeling inside royal circles that the Duchess was being seen less as a survivor and more as someone trying to rewrite history. By February 9th, the tone shift had become impossible to ignore. Major editorial boards that had once defended Meghan's right to privacy began changing their position. The Times, the Globe and Mail, and the Washington Post all published opinion pieces criticizing what they described as curated omission, strategic memory control, and weaponized erasure. The criticism spilled onto television next. During a joint segment on Good Morning Britain, 3 former palace correspondents said the fallout now completely overshadows the Oprah interview era. They argued the damage cuts deeper because it raises questions of honesty, not just toward the public, but toward the crown itself. The reputational impact quickly turned commercial. Whole Foods Market officially confirmed the cancellation of 2 product lines tied to Meghan's upcoming Ever brand. At the same time, Spotify released a quiet statement on February 8th, confirming its full exit from all Sussex-related podcasting agreements. Inside Buckingham Palace, the mood had hardened. King Charles III was briefed that public opinion had shifted from divided to openly skeptical. Internal polling conducted by the Privy Communications Office showed that 61% of UK respondents believe Meghan had deliberately left out or changed parts of her pre-royal history to manage her image, a number that stunned senior advisors and confirmed that the tide of public opinion had decisively turned. On the evening of February 8th, the King's Advisory Council submitted a working draft labeled the Full Severance Memorandum. The document laid out a coordinated legal and communication strategy designed to finalize Meghan Markle's removal from royal records, privileges, and institutional benefits. Pending further developments, as public outrage surged and legal pressure intensified on both sides of the Atlantic. By dawn on February 10th, King Charles III had officially authorized a series of fast and irreversible actions. Those measures effectively cut Meghan off from the institutional memory of the British monarchy, closing that chapter at 3:40 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Her title of Duchess of Sussex was removed from all formal operational frameworks, and her involvement in ongoing royal functions was officially ended. Later that morning, the royal family's official website was quietly updated. Meghan's biography, image gallery, and marriage timeline had disappeared, with no announcement made. In their place appeared a brief administrative note stating she was no longer associated with official duties. The silent change triggered immediate questions from media outlets all over the world. Palace Communications gave no expanded explanation, citing only the revised Royal Communications Act 2025, which allows for the immediate removal of individuals deemed to pose sustained reputational harm to the institution. All links to Meghan's former patronages were disabled. Archived speeches, royal tour photos, and joint appearances with Prince Harry were either hidden or moved into restricted access archives only available to accredited press. The symbolism didn't end there. That same morning, Princess attended a previously scheduled dedication ceremony at the Royal Academy of Military Science. The event itself had nothing to do with the controversy, but she added an unscripted line to her closing remarks that landed with unmistakable weight. It takes integrity to stand under scrutiny. It takes courage to own one's history. For everyone watching, the message was impossible to miss. And it takes truthfulness to earn the right to serve. That final line landed hard and drew sustained applause from the uniformed audience, instantly read by UK and international media as a pointed condemnation of Meghan Markle's conduct. Notably, it marked the first time a senior working royal other than the king had publicly referenced the controversy that had been talked about repeatedly in internal palace briefings. Sources close to Princess described the remark as sanctioned yet unscripted. They said the Princess Royal was deeply unsettled by what she viewed as an alleged manipulation of royal trust and institutional goodwill. Her words, though brief, carried the weight of internal consensus rather than just personal opinion. That same evening, King Charles III took the stage at the Royal Archives Centennial Gala inside Windsor Castle. While the event was officially billed as a celebration of preservation and historical integrity, the king used his keynote speech to deliver what many